On the night of March 8, 2014, a mystery unfolded that still grips the world. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, scheduled to fly from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a puzzle that has baffled experts and captured global attention. MH370 was a modern Boeing 777-200ER carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members. The flight departed Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m. local time, beginning as a typical journey. Inside the cabin, passengers settled in for a routine trip, while the aircraft climbed steadily into the night. Everything appeared normal until suddenly communication ceased and the plane slipped off radar screens, plunging everyone into uncertainty. The news sent shockwaves worldwide. Governments and aviation authorities mobilized immediately, launching a frantic search and rescue operation that involved multiple nations. The rapid response underscored the deep concern felt across communities as families and friends anxiously awaited answers. Media outlets broadcast live updates, and social networks buzzed with theories and calls for justice, reflecting a collective sense of disbelief and urgency. In this video, we will carefully retrace the events of that fateful night. First, we will reconstruct the timeline from takeoff to the mysterious loss of contact, examining every detail to understand how an ordinary flight turned into an unsolvable enigma. Next, we will explore the vast multinational search that followed, highlighting the technological innovations and challenges faced by experts as they combed the remote expanses of the Indian Ocean. Finally, we will delve into the various theories and investigations that continue to fuel debate and reflect on how this tragedy has reshaped aviation safety standards and affected the lives of those left behind. Join us as we piece together the story of MH370, a journey into one of the most enduring mysteries in modern aviation history. On the night of March 8, 2014, a mystery unfolded that still grips the world. As we first learned, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, set to travel from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a puzzle that has baffled experts and captured global attention. Now, we turn our focus to the unfolding of events during that fateful flight, the moments from takeoff to the final, haunting signals, and connect them with the massive search efforts that followed. At exactly 12:41 a.m. local time, MH370 lifted off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The modern Boeing 777-200ER, carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members, departed smoothly into the dark sky. Inside the cabin, travelers settled in for a typical journey. The engines hummed steadily as the plane climbed gracefully, reaching its cruising altitude with nothing out of the ordinary. For those on board and the ground controllers watching from afar, every indication pointed to a normal flight. The usual routines unfolded. Safety demonstrations, in-flight announcements, and quiet conversations filled the air, all marking what seemed to be an unremarkable start. Yet, shortly after the aircraft reached its cruising height, the routine communications continued as usual. Among these was a final message from the cockpit, a brief statement often remembered as "Good night, Malaysian 370." This simple farewell was delivered in the same calm, even tone that had characterized all prior exchanges. It blended seamlessly with the everyday chatter of the flight, offering no hint of the "Yes, bro" imminent chaos. At that moment, nothing seemed amiss, and the message was just another routine check-in that marked the steady progress of the flight. However, within minutes of that last communication, everything changed. Around 1:21 a.m., the aircraft's transponder, the device that relays its position to radar systems, suddenly went silent. In an instant, MH370 disappeared from the radar screens that had until then provided a constant and reassuring presence to air traffic controllers. This abrupt loss of contact left a gaping hole in the data, a silence that spoke louder than any alarm. The once reliable stream of signals was cut off, plunging everyone into deep uncertainty. While civilian radar systems lost track of the plane, military radar continued to pick up its presence for a short period. These systems noted that the flight had deviated from its scheduled course. Instead of following the planned route toward Beijing, MH370 turned away in an unexpected manner. This deviation, although subtle at first, was enough to raise immediate questions among experts. Was the change in direction intentional, or was it the result of an unforeseen technical issue? The answers were elusive, and the unexpected turn became one of the first critical clues in an unfolding mystery. At the same time, automated satellite handshakes began to fill in the gaps. Even after the transponder went dark, the aircraft continued to send intermittent signals to an Inmarsat satellite. These handshakes occurred roughly once an hour, acting as silent markers that the plane was still in the air. The final handshake was recorded around 8:19 a.m., extending the timeline of MH370's flight for several more hours. Although these pings were brief and sporadic, they were crucial in piecing together the latter part of the journey, a journey that led far away from the area initially suspected. Visualize this process as a shifting timeline. The early part of the night is marked by a clear, unbroken flight path from Kuala Lumpur. Then, there is a sudden gap at 1:21 a.m. when radar signals vanish, followed by intermittent satellite pings that stretch the mystery into the early morning hours. Animated maps and overlay charts have helped investigators illustrate this shift from a continuously tracked flight to a series of isolated signals that hint at a course into the vast southern Indian Ocean. As these events unfolded, the confusion among air traffic controllers grew. In control rooms, operators and experts revisited every detail, desperately trying to piece together the chain of events that led from routine operations to a complete disappearance. The sudden silence from the cockpit, combined with the sporadic pings from satellites, created an atmosphere of urgency and bewilderment. Every turning point in the aircraft's flight path was scrutinized, as these deviations might hold the key to understanding whether the change was a deliberate action or the result of a malfunction. The significance of these turning points cannot be overstated. Each unexpected change in direction may represent either a calculated maneuver or an unforeseen technical anomaly, a decision made in the cockpit, or an automatic response by the plane's systems. These critical moments, captured by the few remaining signals, have become the basis upon which the search was later defined. The final data points, although limited, guided search teams to focus on an isolated area in the southern Indian Ocean, a vast expanse that even today remains one of the most challenging regions to explore. Connecting this detailed timeline with the international search efforts we previously discussed, it is clear that the events of that night sparked an unprecedented global response. The loss of continuous signals, the brief military radar detections, and the final satellite handshakes all played a role in directing search teams to a remote and inhospitable part of the ocean. These moments, though few and far between, have formed the cornerstone of every theory and every investigation that followed. In the hours after the last signal, as MH370 silently continued its journey, air traffic controllers, investigators, and families around the world were left in a state of profound uncertainty. The sequence from a smooth, normal departure to an abrupt loss of contact has become one of the most perplexing puzzles in modern aviation history. Each piece of data, the final routine message, the sudden silence at 1:21 a.m., and the lonely satellite pings, has been meticulously analyzed. Yet they still offer only fragments of the full picture. This chain of events, from takeoff to the gradual disappearance of reliable signals, underscores the fragile balance between advanced technology and the unpredictable nature of flight. It is a story told in critical moments. Moments that have spurred a relentless search across an immense ocean, and moments that continue to fuel debates among experts and lay people alike. The unfolding of these events not only set the stage for the global search that followed, but also left an enduring legacy of questions that may never be fully answered. As we move forward into the next phase of our exploration, delving into the expansive search efforts and the myriad theories that have arisen, we carry with us the memory of those final, mysterious moments. The disappearance of MH370 remains a stark reminder that even the most routine journeys can veer into the realm of the unknown, leaving behind a trail of questions that demand our attention and our resolve. Following the baffling loss of contact with MH370, a wave of urgency swept across the globe. Within minutes, search and rescue teams were deployed from Malaysia and beyond. Initial efforts zeroed in on the South China Sea, guided by the last. Radar positions recorded before the aircraft vanished. Air traffic controllers and emergency services worked around the clock, assembling vessels and aircraft to scour the waters. Yet soon emerging data compelled a dramatic shift in focus. As new information from satellite handshakes emerged, experts realized that the flight's path diverged far from its planned course. Instead of remaining near the South China Sea, MH370 appeared to have ventured deep into the vast, isolated reaches of the southern Indian Ocean. This revelation prompted an urgent transition from surface-level tracking to an ambitious underwater search. Specialized teams, drawing on cutting-edge technology, began to explore the dark, unexplored depths where conventional methods had little reach. The search quickly evolved into a truly international effort. Nations such as Malaysia, Australia, and China, among others, pooled their resources and expertise. The Australian Transport Safety Bureau, ATSB, played a central role in coordinating this massive operation, working closely with counterparts from multiple countries. Together, they charted a new course across an immense remote area where even the faintest signal could be a clue to the aircraft's fate. Scanning an area that spans hundreds of thousands of square kilometers is no small feat. Advanced sonar, systems and autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, were deployed to meticulously sweep the ocean floor. These remote sensing technologies, combined with high-resolution mapping, became essential tools in the search. In the initial phase, roughly 120,000 square kilometers were scrutinized, a Herculean task that demanded precision and persistence. Later, a renewed push led by Ocean Infinity expanded the investigation by an additional 112,000 square kilometers. Though the rugged seabed and extreme depths posed formidable challenges, the uneven terrain, with its hidden valleys and rocky outcrops, made it difficult to locate even the smallest piece of debris. Over time, the relentless effort saw several phases. After the early, large-scale search eventually came to a standstill. Due to the daunting size of the area and technical limitations, renewed initiatives began to take shape. In December 2024, authorities announced plans to resume the hunt, armed with refined data and improved analysis methods. New satellite imagery and enhanced computer models have since helped narrow down potential search zones, directing teams to more focused areas within the vast ocean expanse. Throughout these stages, animated maps and satellite images have played a crucial role. These visuals illustrate how the search zones have evolved, shifting from the initial radar-based areas to the pinpointed regions identified by modern analysis. The evolving maps not only chart the changing strategy, but also serve as a powerful reminder of the scale and complexity of the operation. Connecting with the earlier timeline of MH370's disappearance, these coordinated search efforts reflect a global determination to solve one of aviation's most enduring mysteries. Every advancement, every new data point brings us closer to unraveling the fate of that ill-fated flight, and with it, offering hope for closure to the families affected by this tragedy. Following the extensive search efforts that left the world holding its breath, a host of theories and investigations emerged to explain what happened to MH370. With the search area narrowing, yet still yielding few concrete answers, experts and officials have proposed several competing ideas to account for the mysterious disappearance. One of the primary theories is deliberate diversion. Proponents of this view argue that someone in the cockpit may have manually altered the aircraft's set. Of course, they point to unusual flight path deviations and shifts in routine communications as possible clues. In this scenario, the changes in direction might have been a calculated move rather than an accident. Although there are hints suggesting a deliberate act, no clear evidence confirms that a purposeful decision was made to steer the plane away from its intended path. Another major theory centers on mechanical failure and catastrophic events. This explanation posits that a sudden malfunction, such as rapid decompression or a critical system failure, could have incapacitated the crew and passengers. In this case, the aircraft might have continued flying on autopilot until it ran out of fuel. This theory is supported by the fact that MH370 was observed to remain airborne for several hours after contact was lost. However, while a technical failure could explain the continued flight, it does not fully account for the deliberate deviations in the flight path that were noted before the loss of radar contact. A third, less mainstream idea involves hijacking or cyber sabotage. This theory suggests that external interference, whether through a direct hijack or a sophisticated cyber attack on the plane's systems, could have played a role. Despite its dramatic nature, this theory has not been backed by sufficient evidence, and many experts consider it less likely compared to the other explanations. Official investigations have provided important, albeit incomplete, insights. Malaysian authorities, along with international safety boards and independent experts, have meticulously reviewed satellite communication data and radar records. Their analysis has helped map out the aircraft's trajectory, yet it has also highlighted many uncertainties. One of the tangible pieces of evidence was the discovery of debris. For example, a flaperon was found on Réunion Island in July 2015, with other pieces of wreckage later identified along distant coastlines. These finds confirm that the aircraft ended its flight in the Indian Ocean, but they have not revealed clear answers about how the events unfolded. The debate among experts continues as each theory has its own set of supporting facts and challenges. The deliberate diversion idea is bolstered by the observed shifts in the flight path, while the autopilot theory finds support in the plane's sustained flight after contact was lost. Meanwhile, the possibility of external interference remains an open question, partly due to the lack of conclusive evidence. Adding to the complexity, media coverage, public opinion, and conspiracy theories have all influenced the ongoing discussion. This blend of scientific investigation and public speculation has left many key questions unanswered, ensuring that the mystery of MH370 remains alive in both professional and popular discussions. In essence, while each theory offers a potential explanation, the true cause of MH370's disappearance still eludes us. The combination of limited evidence, technical challenges in underwater recovery, and the inherent uncertainties in the data means that the search for definitive answers continues, keeping the debate active and the mystery unresolved. As our exploration of MH370 draws to a close, the disappearance continues to reverberate throughout the aviation world. This event exposed critical gaps in flight tracking and sparked sweeping changes in international communication protocols. Airlines and regulators have since adopted advanced monitoring systems to ensure that every flight can be traced, even over remote areas. The loss of MH370 transcends technical failure. It is a human tragedy that has left families of the 239 souls on board grappling with endless grief and unanswered questions. Memorials and personal stories remind us that behind the data lie lives that were abruptly lost, and the quest for closure endures for loved ones worldwide. Moreover, the unresolved mystery drives ongoing research and spurs innovation in aviation safety. International cooperation in search and rescue operations has strengthened, emphasizing the need for unified responses to future challenges. The lessons learned from MH370 serve as a catalyst for technological progress and a renewed commitment to protecting passengers. As we reflect on this enduring enigma, we invite you to consider how continued efforts and collaboration can transform tragedy into progress. A legacy that not only honors those lost, but also enhances global air travel for generations to come.